Hello and welcome to the When the Boat Comes In podcast. This is the final episode of Series 2, The Simple Pleasures of the Rich. This is one of my favourite episodes. I'd say it would be in like the top 3. Yeah, I love this episode. The destruction of Mandrake Place, of course. At the beginning of the episode, you see Jack. He's eyeing up Mandrake Place, and he's looking at plans of this pit called the Arabella, and basically he needs this pit to destroy Mandrake Place. And it's such a brilliant episode. There's so much happens in it. Of course, you've got Matt and Sarah. They're starting to get together, and Jack basically tells Sarah about what's going to happen next. He's not going to run the Fitters Union anymore. Matt's going to get $400 a year. She's quite gobsmacked at this. And yeah, you can see what's going to happen next. He's preparing to be a boss, isn't he, Jack, at this point? He wants to get the land, he wants to sell it to Manners, and then he can start to make his fortune. As he says later to Jesse, he's going to be a bourgeois, which means like an entrepreneur these days, doesn't it? Back then they were bourgeois. And Jesse's like, I always knew it would happen at one point. And Jack also says that he likes people, which he does. I mean, he helps people out, but at the same time, he likes to get on, doesn't he? Yeah, and it's very interesting, this episode, how things unfold. Of course, Tom Seaton wants a divorce for Dolly. She's pregnant. And it's quite funny when he tells this to Bill, and Bill's like, you don't get it, do you? Because Tom's like, it's like a miracle. And Bill's like, well, it's going to be hard telling Jack because you've succeeded at something he failed at. You know, although she did get pregnant, but she had a miscarriage, yeah. But still, that's an awkward conversation later. And again, it's that kind of thing of you give me something, I give you something. And that's what happens in terms of the divorce. Of course, Jack, it's like, that'll take a lot of thinking about, but he's after something, isn't he? He wants Tom to push the lever down on the explosives to blow up Mandrake Place.
What can I do for you?
It's a sort of favour.
Oh, aye?
Hey, me and Dolly,
Well, you can tell me, Tom.
we want to get married.
But she is married, how can you?
If you divorced her, we could.
Divorce? What's a big thing, Tom? Takes a lot of thinking about, does that?
Oh, it's asking a lot, I know, but...
You're right, it is. And who were you thinking would be the guilty party?
Sorry?
Who's doing the adultery? You two?
Well, of course. Well, I mean...
Aye, I know what you mean, all right.
I'm sorry, Jack, only I've got to tell you this. There's a bairn on the way.
What?
Dolly's expecting.
You bloody liar!
It's true, Jack.
True? It can't be true, and you know it. Or didn't she tell you? Dolly can no more have a bairn than you can.
Jack,
That's why she went after yours.
Jack, will you listen?
Get on your feet and I'll flatten you. Dolly had a miscarriage.
I know, man, she told us.
And did she tell you the doctor said she could never be pregnant again?
Aye, she did. The doctors were wrong, Jack. I'm telling you the truth. You've only got to look at her, man. That's another reason we want to get married.
Well, well. Well. So, it's congratulations, is it?
I hope so.
Aye. And you want a divorce?
We do, Jack. Yes.
But you don't want her being the guilty party, man. It's a terrible thing for a woman, that. All that evidence, dirt in the Sunday papers.
There's no help for it.
Why, there is, bunny lad. There's me.
You've done nothing.
There's Wares Mara, women you can hire. Weekend in Scarborough and a private detective catches her in a camisole. Dolly's name would hardly be mentioned. Yours wouldn't be mentioned at all. Make your mum feel a lot better that way.
Why should you do that, Jack? Like you said yourself, divorce is a big thing.
Learned a bit sense when you were in Jogue, didn't you, Tom? Or has Dolly been teaching you? I wouldn't be doing it for nothing, Mara.
My dad says he'll put up what's needed.
Not money, Tom. I'll take care of that. You want me to do you a favor? Well, I want a favor from you.
There's a couple of conversations I like in this episode. You've got the conversation between Jack and the Duke of Bedlington about the simple pleasures of the rich, and that's the name of the episode. The Duke's like, you'll get 'em all right, but I don't know if you'll enjoy them. And I liked that sort of meeting of minds. I liked that in When the Boat Comes In. Very much like when Jack first meets Manners, and it's like a job interview, and he's seeing how clever he is. It's that kind of thing. And back then, there was a way of doing things, the way gentlemen would talk to each other, and it was clever. It wasn't very to the point. They were clever enough to work it out for themselves. I'm trying to think of another show. Possibly, I don't know if you've ever seen it, Broadwalk Empire. A different show, but set in the 1920s. And Nookie Thompson, who's the main character in that, he talks in this clever way with people. They have a conversation, it's over a long period. It's the art of conversation, isn't it? So, yeah, the art of conversation, I love that in When the Boat Comes In, particularly between Jack and usually the upper classes, the people who have made it. I find all that very interesting. The other conversations I really like, well, the conversation I liked in this episode was between Jack and Jessie. They sort of reminisce about what could have been, really. Yeah, because Jack again mentions about, I said I'd build you a palace, and I said I'd fill it with beer for your mum when she came round to visit. Yeah, so that's kind of sad, really.
Well, won't you sit down? A bit early for you, I suppose.
Far too early. Jack, are you sober?
Not very. You've come to ask me for something.
What makes you think so?
You never come for aught else.
It's Tom.
I thought it might be.
You're going to blow up Mandrake Place.
Well, nothing so drastic. Just collapse the foundations, that's all. Let nature take its course.
But Tom's going to do it.
One good turn deserves another, Jessie.
He could be killed.
He could. Or he could live happy ever after. Him and Dolly and his bairn and theirs.
So that's why you're doing it. And for heaven's sake, stop drinking. I'm trying to talk sense.
If you want a nag, Jessie, try your husband, but just remember that's not me.
You had your chance.
And I muffed it. Now Tom's got his.
You always did know how to hurt.
I was talking to a duke the other day. We were discussing morals, and he reckoned he didn't have any. And neither did I. But I like people, Jessie, and I like liking them. Does that make sense, school teacher?
So far.
Trouble is, I like me count square and all.
You're saying Tom hurt you?
You know he did.
I know he hurt your pride. Are you still set on leaving the Union?
I'll leave next week. I'm going to be a boss, Jessie Seaton. A bourgeois, even if it kills us.
It was bound to happen eventually. I always knew deep down.
I said I'd build you a palace once, remember? And you said you hoped the palace would have beer in it if your mum came to stay.
I remember.
I meant it, no.
But you'll still do nothing for Tom.
Tom's looking out for his own, for his woman, for his bairn.
And who are you looking out for, Jack?
There's only me, bonny lass.
And of course, Manners visits Jack, and Jack tells him the price for the land that he's got from Lady Caroline. Of course, he was hoping to buy this land from Lady Caroline himself. I think he said 500 he wanted for this land. And Manners is like, you're a greedy young man. Yeah. And it's quite funny, this whole thing, really. But in the previous episode, Manners did try and stitch him up as well, so there's probably a bit of spite from Jack as well. The gloves are off, so to speak, and you can't blame him, can you, really? But then Manners is like, I don't want your land, and then he storms off, doesn't he, in a temper because he hasn't got his own way. And Lady Caroline asks him, are you still going to blow it up, to Jack? And he's like, yeah, I'm still going to blow it up. Eventually he will want the land. Yeah. I mean, this is brilliant, isn't it? The whole situation of blowing up Mandrake Place. And he does this a couple of times where he does really clever things that are kind of controversial but clever. So the other thing is with Wellesley Street later on. Do you remember? I think that's in the third series. He buys that land and then sells it again. Another land deal. Clever. Because it doesn't... It's something like it wasn't owned by anybody, or we'll find that out in the later series, the next series. But Jack's very clever when it comes to land deals. And I expect... With Manners, he was like, it'll take an army to blow up Mandrake Place. And he's like, I better raise one then. And he does, yeah. He gets people who he knows, people who he trusted. And it's very much like a military operation when they blow up Mandrake Place. Of course, you've got Matt there, you've got Tom, you've got lots of other people getting involved. They've obviously been paid well. And yeah, Matt's doing it as a favour. Tom, of course, owes this favour so he can get Dolly a divorce. As I said earlier, though, he doesn't push the plunger down, does he, with the explosives, the dynamite. Jack in the end does it, and it is one of the best cliffhangers, I think, ever. It's such a big cliffhanger, and I wonder what the gap was in between episodes, because you must have been like, does Jack survive? What happens? I mean, you would know when a new series was coming on that obviously Jack survived, but before this point you wouldn't know, would you? So I think it's a great cliffhanger and one of the best endings of when the boat comes in.
It's all clear, Tom?
Uh-huh. I don't need you, Jack.
Interesting. Educational, this is.
You bugger off, man.
Tell us what you're going to do.
I just connect up this other terminal and give it a good twist.
That's all.
That'll be enough.
Toss you for it.
No fear, this is my job.
I'm not doing this for you, Bonnie lad. This is for Dolly. For the bairn, the one that's coming.
I gave you my word, Jack.
And you kept it, you hear? It was my fault. You took a woman off us. Never could stand that. Well, I was wrong.
I was wrong and all, you know I was.
So we're both wrong. So we'll toss for it. Dolly been no use without a man. We both know that. Give it a chance, Bonnie lad. Call.
Heads.
You lose, off you go.
You cheated us, Jack.
Don't talk daft, you lost. Now bugger off.
All right, then. So long, Jack.
So long, Mara.
I beg pardon, miss. Have you seen Jack? Mr. Ford?
No. It's very odd. He said he was going to meet me here. Too bad if he missed it. After all, it is his show.
Jesse Seaton, Jesse Seaton. Why did you have to have a brother? Dear God.
Dance to the daddy, sing to the mommy, dance to the daddy, to the mommy, sing.